One thing that I think looking back on it now, and especially working with Motley and Metallica, who both have, you know, their toes kind of in punk, especially Metallica. Metallica was huge with the Ramones and Discharge, and their sound came out of a hybrid of the new wave of British heavy metal and punk. Their sound was way developed before I was ever involved in Metallica, you know. I think I've been actually dubbed as the guy that ruined Metallica. But, you know, I didn't. You know, fans get really silly sometimes, and, you know, they absolutely idolize Metallica, and then, you know, they think somehow I could influence them. It's just, there's not a chance. Anything I ever did with Metallica, those guys wanted to do, and I just helped them achieve it. And it's much like even the early records that I did. For example, Art Bergman, you know, who I think is just a huge talent, and to this day I listen to his stuff all the time. His writing was as good as anybody's, but he was just a really calm, nice guy, and he just had the way he played guitar, his sound. He was individual. Everybody else was using Marshalls. He used a different kind of amp. That was his thing. He used a Strat. Everybody else was using Les Pauls or Gibsons. He's just had his different thing, and I just connected with that. And I think it was his songwriting, his point of view in terms of writing a song was, even back there, was just so different, I think, from straight ahead pop and punk. You know, with him there was a learning process. It was learning about, you know, what makes a song great, and why did Art's stuff kind of strike a chord with me more than working with a rock band or something. You know, why did this is what I always liked rather than commercial rock. So I just, you know, it helps define your tastes and what you do and how you make records. And of course, a huge thing for me in the whole thing was when we worked with Mick Ronson. Mick Ronson, who was a guitar player for Bowie through some of his most important records. Man Who Sold the World through Pinups. And he had done David Johansen's album, produced that, and Paul and I were into the Dolls and especially that album. So we had asked him to do our first album. It didn't happen, but he ended up coming to Vancouver and doing our second album. And you know, he was good friends with Mick Jones, etc., and Ian Hunter, and I think Mick Jones and Ronson produced one of Ian Hunter's albums. It's all intertwined, but it's all that love of kind of basic rock and roll, which is what the essence of punk is to me. Mm-hmm. That combination of really raw, gritty, fast rock and roll, and then, you know, socially conscious lyrics, and, you know, kind of just not about silly stuff. Mm-hmm.